are you in the? Are you making any money back from the Super Bowl loss, or from the Eagles? Are you screwed still?
Oh yeah, my side hustle worked out just fine.
That's good. The movies.
It was 19 straight hours, but I got final cut, and as an artist, it is so important. It's priceless.
Yeah, you got it.
I made my life savings back, and we're good to go.
I mean, that's how you get to your truest vision.
Yep.
Is the final cut.
Just ask David Lynch.
Yeah. What was his porno again? I can't remember. Was it a porn? Or was it just movies? He was just doing movies. That's what it was.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Just movies. His commentary's got to be interesting now.
Oh yeah.
Because I just want to hear him say really mundane shit.
Have you listened to him give the weather every day?
I have not.
He does that.
No.
Every day into a radio, like a CB radio.
And
he looks outside. He's like, America, it's 87 degrees out, mostly sunny. Should be a good day today. That's what he does. It is bananas.
Where, just like a ham radio or just a regular radio?
Probably a ham radio.
Oh my God.
If anything, a CB radio. But knowing him, he's probably a ham radio guy.
There's nothing that would get me operating a ham radio faster than tuning in to David Lynch.
Yeah.
Doing the weather.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What a weirdo. Hello? Last video store on the left. What? I don't know. What is an Irish baby's first words? Oh, for fuck's sake. All right, kid. Don't call here anymore. Thanks.
How does he get our number?
I don't know. I think he spreads it around school.
Okay.
At least I think. Yeah.
Like on the bathroom?
Probably. We're on the bathroom wall.
For a good time.
Of middle schools and high schools in the area. Feels like that's what's going on. Oh, hey, Mayor. How's it going?
How's it going, Mayor?
Hey, everybody. I saw your light pop on to say hi. Hey, you're down person. She okay? Was it my drink? I think you rotted her gut.
It may have. Yeah, she's got a weak constitution sometimes.
I'm sorry about that. Hey, today's magic bag will be a lot easier on your gut. This one, it's called a Moscow Mule. It's just vodka, lime juice, and some ginger beer. You might like it.
That sounds good.
It does sound good. Ooh, it's
kind of looks like mule piss, though.
It actually does look like mule piss. Now I don't want to drink it. But thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. I'm gonna go in the back and get rid of my mule piss.
All right, you be careful back there and stay out of trouble. I don't know what happens in the back room. Oh, that was busy on the street today.
These two fucking chuckleheads.
All right. Yeah. So I'm if you're just distracted by things. Oh, hello, sir. How are you?
It is well.
Good.
Yes.
Awesome. I'm glad it's well. What can we do for you today? Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely. So, I'm looking for a movie for me and my side chick.
Your side chick?
Yes. I'm kind of in a poly relationship.
Okay. All right.
And I need something that would, allow for me to show my feelings for her. Something, rom-com-y.
So, are you watching it just with your side chick, or side chick and main chick, or several side chicks, or side chicks and multiple main chicks?
You raised some interesting questions. This one's for my side chick, just me and her.
Okay.
She's been crying about intimate time, and I haven't been delivering.
Gotcha.
That's the thing about side chicks.
Yeah.
Is they always want to be the main chick.
Right.
But it's like an indoor cat, outdoor cat.
Right.
You
gotta
know.
pick one.
I'm busy.
I I feel you. Yeah, you're busy. Well, we might be able to help. We can have something for you that might help kind of bring you together, like East meets West kind of a thing. Something from someplace hard and cold that will make you want to cuddle up on the couch, maybe. I'm thinking we have the 1988 buddy action film Red Heat.
Okay.
So it sounds weird, but I think it might work. I think it might be just the spice you need to kind of get things.
Oh, get those juices flowing.
Yeah.
Well, because I want to take things to the next level.
Oh, this takes things to another level for sure. It might, and I think it might help. Especially after watching a lot of the dysfunction between these two characters, she's going to be really happy that she is with you in this stable-ish kind of relationship. So, yeah, 1988's Red Heat stars Arnold Schwarzenegger and a very Belushi'd out James Belushi. Like, actually, he's the Belushiest I've ever seen him in this movie. And to be quite honest, I had never really had a problem with James Belushi one way or another. And then I watched this film, and I'm like, okay, I kind of see where he kind of rubs people the wrong way, because it's tough. It's tough sometimes.
I get like a human Muppet vibe from him. Like, he's just going to do his thing, and you're just going to film it, and that's all there is to it.
It doesn't get much better,
But for this movie, let's set the geopolitical stage.
Well, the geopolitical stage, it's the late 80s. The Berlin Wall is still up. Not that has anything to do with Russia, but Russia and America are still like in a Cold War. Not really. They're just starting to kind of
starting to thaw
out, starting to kind of get things back together. We already had Rocky IV.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
so
there's a post-Rocky movie.
So that kind of helped. Gorbachev was in office, and he's trying to help get America working with Russia. The Soviet Union. I want to mess that up. This was kind of a very precarious time, but it was also like on the downslope of a bad relationship. You're kind of mending things.
And kind of a hopeful time.
Very hopeful.
Looking towards the future.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds good, but I'm into it already. I am, and she likes Russian men.
Really?
So
I
want to get her going.
This is going to jumpstart her engine, because we start off in Siberia in a Russian bathhouse with a bunch of very naked, very strapping Russian lads.
That's the move.
That's it. And there's even women. I mean, this is like a full-on Russian brothel.
It's very progressive.
It was very.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much steam and sweat and water and nakedness. It's crazy.
And of the men, like, Arnold was actually probably the smallest. Like,
Yeah.
these dudes were jacked.
Yeah, these guys were big.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Some big boys.
So, I mean, not only do we start there, but then you have some uber macho staring contests with these Russian guys and holding a hot coal in your hand to see how much you can take it.
For no reason at all.
For no reason other than to show he's strong.
Yeah.
He proved that you're not a cop. Put this hot rock in your hand.
There's a lot of commando things, like ripping the seat out for no reason. It's like, how can we make them look awesome?
Yeah, right. Just random things.
I thought he was going to crush that rock.
I thought he was just going to keep holding it. I don't know. I had no idea where it was going. So he holds this hot rock and he just decks the guy in the face, because there are like a lot of criminals in here. And then all of a sudden, before you know what's going on, there is a full-on fight, and two naked dudes go crashing through the wall, out into the snow, tumbling down a hill.
With just like a terry cloth towel.
Yeah.
Like the littlest, teeniest towel.
That's probably where we're going to pause the movie. I mean, I think that'll get us going, both of us. I prefer not be a lot of women in there.
Yeah.
I want to look at the men's.
Okay. This might be a movie you pause quite a bit.
Well, that opening scene, it's basically two hams walking away from you on Arnold.
Oh, yeah, basically.
I'm disturbed a little bit. I would like to, if I could skip past the Belushi parts. Is that possible?
Man, that is a good question. I think at first you're going to want to skip past the Belushi parts, but then I think you're just gonna settle into them and realize that this is it, and it might not get much better, but it'll make you look brilliant, because I mean Belushi's only gonna make you look better by contrast. So you're gonna be like this genius, hilarious guy.
I never thought about it like that.
I just think he can help you make you look good, because your side chick's gonna be like, oh, at least he's not Belushi. Maybe.
Yeah, definitely,
That's fair.
definitely.
So there's 3 people in the snow fight, the naked snow fight, and Arnold beats up both of them to get the information.
So the one guy is, I don't know if he's supposed to be Mongolian, with Siberia and all
Right.
that, but I am 95% sure he was a wrestler in WCW.
I'm sure you would.
Late 80s, early
Yeah.
90s.
God
95% sure.
How long has the WCW been out?
A long time.
Wow.
You're like a Ricky Dragon Steamboat looking guy, kinda ish,
Well,
but bigger.
he's the guy that gave him the rock.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think, I want to say he was in the Orient Express.
Oh, wow.
And I know that's a term you're not supposed to use, but that's
What it was called.
was their actual name.
Yeah.
Let me ask you gentlemen this. Does Arnold get beat up at any point in this movie?
Oh,
I'm tired of him winning.
He gets his ass handed to him. It's awesome.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're chasing a bunch of drug dealers in Russia, and that's a big no-no in Russia because they're very hard on bringing any kind of outside culture in that's going to corrupt their purist society. It's kind of weird.
Russia just don't never seem like it's no fun.
I know, it's cold, it's hard, no one laughs.
Yeah, so he's looking for the main drug dealer, and that's why he went to this bathhouse to get
Yeah.
that information. And it's like he could have gotten it
Anywhere else.
anywhere
But it's
at
Russia.
any time.
So you got to be in a Russian bathhouse, and you got to have a naked bathhouse fight.
Yeah.
And I like all of that. I was just a little confused as I read the reviews. They mentioned a Georgian drug dealer. I said, what part of Georgia?
Not Atlanta.
Oh,
Definitely not Atlanta.
I'm happy for that.
Yeah. So, it's a Georgia, the other Georgia, but yeah, he makes it a point to saying, "Hey, why are you always bothering us poor Georgians?" So Schwarzenegger's character tracks down the drug dealers to this Georgian, I don't know, coffee shop, bar. I don't know.
It looked like a cool place.
It looked pretty cool. There's
Yeah.
some music. There's a lot happening.
It was like a Russian Tom Waits just going on the
Just pounding
piano.
on the piano.
Yeah.
This movie starts out, even with the bathhouse, it almost rivaled Over the Top for being the most sweatiest movie at first, because there was a lot of sweat going on. So he walks into this club looking for this Georgian guy, drug dealer, and I'm telling you, every 80s movie has to have steam shooting out of something. And he walks into this restaurant, and there's steam just shooting everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's sweaty and hot.
It's very cinematic. Steam is.
Yeah.
You can put lights behind it. Yeah.
So much like Commando, where there's just steam everywhere. This weirdo Georgian bar has steam coming out everywhere. So he walks up to this table where he sees the bad guys, and totally picks a fight with them. And they're wondering why they're picking on him, because they're just working class Georgians. And then one guy tries to attack him, beats the hell out of him. And he's like, "You have no proof." And then he grabs the guy's leg, and you're like, "What's he going to do?" And then he rips his leg off. It's actually a pretty cool sequence.
Yeah.
And he rips his leg off. It's a prosthetic leg, and all this cocaine just spills out of it.
Out his leg?
Out of his leg.
It was a wooden leg, and he had like a cork in it.
Yeah,
So he took the cork out, turned it upside down,
And I'm just
it's
saying,
like
I'm not a drug smuggler.
that's
That's a pretty good
That's
idea.
the way. That's the way.
and that's a lot of cocaine.
Yeah.
That's like Scarface levels.
I mean, it sounds amazing. Steam, cocaine.
Yeah.
It's my type of Friday night. Yeah.
So there's a big shootout because they get away, and there's other Russian cops there, and he ends up killing the bad guy's brother. But then the bad guy's brother, the main villain, he ends up killing Schwarzenegger's partner. So it's like it's tit for tat kind of a thing, and he gets away, and he's humiliated. Schwarzenegger is, and he has to go to America to get him back, because that's where his drug connection is. His drug connection, funny enough, isn't China, where
Yeah.
you think it would be. It's Chicago.
And like back then, you couldn't just leave Russia. Like
Right.
I know he's a criminal and could like forge stuff, but you didn't just go. So he had to pull some major strings, and they just kind
Right.
of flew over that. One thing about how they found out that he was in America, the teletype machine.
Oh yeah,
I
we
miss
had a big
those so
sequence.
much.
I know.
It's so a teletype. If you weren't born 100 years ago, is basically a typewriter hooked up to a phone line,
I guess so,
and it just sends signals. But it's like a
It's like Morse code
player
on crack.
piano.
Oh,
Yeah.
She gonna love this. She pushing 70. So this is gonna be some nostalgia.
A reminder of her younger days.
Oh man,
great.
I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah, she will love this.
Yes. Now, let me violence scale of 1 to 10, cause I'm a pastor.
Okay. Okay.
I'd say a 6.
6. Okay, I was gonna go 7 or 8.
It's not gratuitous,
No.
and the guy's leg was fake.
It was.
So it's not like he ripped off a real leg.
Yeah, you're kind of in a warm zone.
6.5, 7.
Yeah, 6.5, 7. We'll call it.
You can be honest. Look, I'm a black church pastor. So
You know,
Seven.
for the people in this movie, I figured it would be 9-10. I figured
Yeah.
it'd be a 9-10 scale.
Yeah.
And being the fact that it's in Chicago in the 80s, I was for sure, but not so much. Yeah, it's relatively tamer than I would have thought.
After a week after watching Commando, it's like anything's going to be less than that.
Yeah,
Because it's freaking Commando.
yeah,
But I totally agree. I thought it would be more over the top,
yeah.
more outrageous.
I'd give Commando a 9, 8.5, 9.
Yeah.
And I would give Red Heat 6.5, 7.
Yep.
oh, okay. So I can show this to the youth group.
Yeah.
The gunshots, though, sounded like cannons.
Oh, that's something
But-
we got to talk about too. Like even in the snow fight in the beginning, the one thing that it's remarkable. I think we've come so far with movie making is like the hearing the fake punch sounds. Oh man, it's glorious. It is so terrible and ridiculous, but it's kind of awesome at the same
I'm
time.
here. I mean, what other movies, fall into that fake punch genre? Just
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
That may have started it.
You
Yes.
think?
Yeah.
Psh, 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 psh.
Because everything's
Kung
like
Fu
a
movie.
cannon.
About 5 seconds, really loud.
Really
Right?
loud,
Okay.
way louder than
All
it
right.
would be.
All right.
I mean, I kind of like now how punching sounds really kind of accurate. Like if you watch an episode of
Oh, yeah.
Daredevil or something,
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
Yeah, if you watch Jason Bourne, you're not getting those cannon shots. And
Yeah.
even the punches in some of those old movies sound like cannon shots.
Yeah.
So you bring up
It's
old
not-
movies. I got a younger chick. I got a stable. I mean, you did ask me how many I had, but from a younger chick, you think they should remake Red Heat?
I
We're in
could.
a remake season.
I mean, you could do it, but it would be really weird now because there's not this whole. Well, I guess there is. There
There's
is a lot
sorta-
more tension. The
Yeah.
tension now, though, is a lot more real than it was. In the 80s, we were getting over our Cold War and trying to be friends, and now we're kind of slipping back into it. So
Yeah.
it would be like a reverse Red Heat.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows? Maybe if they did remake it now, it would kind of lighten everything up.
All right. Well, let me ask
I
you
don't
this.
know.
I'm trying to cast it in my head,
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
and I want
You
to say Vin Diesel
Oh wow!
for Arnold's role.
Wow.
Caught me off guard.
Yeah, caught me off guard too. Now I'm rooting for the Russians. I find myself rooting for the Russians now. Sorry, Mr. Diesel. Wait, does he have Does he have a Challenger? Does he have a Dodge Challenger?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's about family
Is
over
it
there.
painted in the stars and stripes? It is about family. You're right.
And that's my motto at the church.
Perfect. See, this is the movie it should be. We should make this for the church. So they have a really weird cut to America. You know, you're waiting to see because Russians all like, you know, it's history and it's stoic and there's
Yeah, it's like
Uh,
Lenin
gravitas.
Square,
Yeah,
and everybody's in a fucking uniform.
right. So it's this very strict, straightforward, no nonsense. And then they cut to America, and of course there's a bunch of jazz horns playing, and there's a big Levi's sign. I'm like, Levi's? I guess blue jeans.
It's
were
America,
huge.
baby.
Yeah. I was just like, you could go a lot of ways, but
Supposedly Levi's were like a huge thing in Russia,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
don't know if that's like
it might be. It might
a,
be.
a s- subtle nod to it or not.
Yeah, because people got in trouble for going over to Russia to sell like blue jeans and stuff. It was like a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
They did that in Stranger Things, actually, when he found that guy's warehouse and he had all this contraband that he was selling.
I'm not caught up.
Oh, you're not caught up. Okay, that's not a spoiler. But it's interesting. You're like, oh yeah. So enter Belushi and his partner in front of the Levi sign. They're staking somebody out.
Oh yeah, with a young Larry Fishburne.
Yeah, young Larry Fishburne, who's still awesome. I mean, that guy, everything he's in, he's just incredible.
Yeah.
And Richard Bright. Richard Bright was a character actor. He's been around forever. He was Dennis Leary's partner in The Ref.
Okay.
He was also in the Steve McQueen movie The Getaway. He's been in a ton of stuff. He's one of those faces you're like, I think I know that guy.
I know.
Is he mostly a bad guy in
He
most
plays
roles?
shifty characters.
Okay.
Yeah, he mostly plays like weirdo. You're not quite sure who they are.
Okay.
Kind of smarmy,
Yeah.
sneaky characters.
Yeah.
He's good at it.
He's very good at it.
So he plays his older partner, Jim Belushi's older partner, and then
Who
Fishburne
the movie kind of sets up as the main guy,
is
the shifty dude.
Yeah.
He's kind of the main guy.
he's like the senior officer. Yeah.
And Belushi is like the flunky smartass that
Doesn't want to be there.
yeah,
It's a pain in
and
the
they don't
ass.
want him there, but his dad was a cop. We
Yeah,
find out.
And a lot of the jokes in the beginning weren't funny at all. Like he was trying to make
they
it
landed
funny.
flat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was just like, what? So again, your side chick's gonna think you're hilarious because
Because
Belushi's
was a little off.
he's a little off.
Okay.
A little bit.
Now, you had mentioned him being his most Belushiest.
Yeah.
Compared to Real Men,
I feel like this is the peak Belushi.
okay.
Because I can tolerate him in Real Men. I actually kind of like him in Real Men.
Yeah, me too.
But there were moments when I found myself visibly cringing.
Like
oh.
like the ship had sailed, the bloom was off the rose.
Yeah. There's no coming back.
Yeah.
So okay. So he made you cringe. I'm gonna take that as a sign. Like you said, that's gonna make me look like a rock star.
It
Yep.
is 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. So, who did they meet one of the bad guys, right? They're trying
Oh
to-
yeah. So it kind of, like you said, jumps in kind of middle steakhouse, and Belushi's actually ogling prostitutes.
Oh, that's right. That's what it is.
He's like, "Oh, would you look at that?" Blah blah blah. And
Yeah.
the other cops are like, "Geez, Louise,
Yeah.
dude."
Right. Which everything he was saying wasn't bad or wasn't shocking or funny. It was just like it was kind of like, okay.
It was forced.
Yeah, it felt forced.
A lot of his lines were forced.
Yeah.
And we'll get back to that. We'll put a pin in that.
All right, put a pin in that one. Come back. So they're going to. Is this the Clean Heads, quote unquote? that they're going to bust?
Which is fucking weird,
It's
that
a
name.
weird name.
We'll put a pin in that as well. But yeah, so we're kind of mid-scene. We come in mid-scene on that where they got a tip from a guy, and we'll put a pin in that as well. And they're going to bust a dude, and it's almost like the scene from Pulp Fiction where they break in and there's guns everywhere and they get the bad guys, but there's a dude like in the bathroom
Right, that's right.
packing.
That's right, that they don't check. That Belushi doesn't check. And he's a pretty terrible cop because, like, if you're going to open that door while your friends are in the way, you didn't want to say something to him.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone could have got killed.
Yep.
So they go and they bust these
Clean
these
heads.
Clean heads that they call them. They're like a
They're
gang.
not skinheads though, is it?
No, so it's weird because they call them clean heads because they all have shaved heads, like bicked. You know?
I think they wanted to call them skinheads, but
Yeah,
they're
so
like,
that'd be
no,
problematic.
that's yeah.
Russian skinheads.
No,
yeah.
so
Would've been
they're
wild.
they're basically like a Black Panther party, like
Yeah.
a current, advanced Black Panther party. I guess is what they are. But they all shave their heads. That's why they call them the clean heads. Kind of dumb, but
It's very dumb. And I wonder, the movie Goodfellas?
Yeah.
Originally that was supposed to be called Wise Guys.
yeah,
But there was a movie or a TV show out,
Wise
and
Guys.
That's right.
so they changed it. So I wonder if the Clean Heads
if there
was
was
like,
Mr. Clean movie out.
well, there was a reason why they're called Clean Heads, because
Oh.
it's like the worst fucking name.
Terrible.
Yeah.
And they said it in a funny-ish way, like slang, like the clean heads, like they just made it up. It was okay, but it was still dumb.
Yeah. It could have been the Bald Banditos. Like it could have been anything, but
Anything.
Clean Heads.
Now, did Arnold say anything in Russian? Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he actually learned to speak Russian for the beginning of the film.
And he speaks it better than English, which is amazing.
Well, yeah, it's pretty close.
Goddamn governor.
That's right. So it was actually pretty impressive that he did that. He actually learned.
Yeah. His name, by the way, is Ivan Danko.
Not to be confused with Ivan Drago.
And that was close. That was a close.
That is so close.
So get your dank jokes ready.
The dank Schwarzenegger. So they bust these guys, and there's a guy that they don't see, and he almost kills them all
With a shotgun.
With a shotgun,
Yep.
but they end up rounding them all up, taking them in. So these guys coincidentally are the drug suppliers for the Russian. They're like a big syndicate. They're very powerful. They have a lot of networking and guys. So they take him to the jail. They find, is that where they find the key on him, or no? Is that later?
It's later.
It's later. Yeah,
If
this
you
movie's a mush of
The-
weird shit.
This is,
If
yeah.
you don't mind me asking, what type of drugs? Because we moved those out of church too.
Cocainium.
Yeah, cocaine.
Cocainium?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
It's
I
the
guess that's
80s.
cocaine in
In
Russia.
Russia?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Cocainium.
Cocaine in Russia is cocaine, apparently. So yeah, it's the 80s, so I guess it's still cocaine.
It wasn't crank, which kind of surprised me.
But they do bring up heroin later.
yeah.
They do bring up heroin. I want you to sell heroin to everybody. I want you to sell heroin to every white boy that you know, or something
Yep.
like that. So we find out later that that's the whole goal of this part, the clean heads, is that he is been in prison for not a crazy crime, but he gets screwed.
He said he robbed a bank.
He robbed the bank, but he's been in prison his whole life, and his whole mode of operation is to basically pump drugs into every white neighborhood in America and abroad. So that, I mean,
You got to admire him for his plan.
I
Like,
get it. It's a good plan, and he's sticking to it, and he's got a lot of reason to back it up.
most days I plan to take the garbage out, but it doesn't always happen. So I got to
Almost to take it out.
tip my cap.
But I like the idea of the drugs to the white guy. That's how you move it safely. Okay.
I got to tell you, when he came up with that plan and said something, I'm like, all right, I could see it. It was plausible. It was just, It was really, Anyway, we were far away from that, but
Sure.
they get off on a technicality, I guess.
Yeah, it was so that they got the lead from some dude that they brought in, who was the guy in Blade
Streak.
Runner.
Yeah, Streak. He is Brian James. He's a character actor in the 80s. If you saw him, you'd be like, that guy.
Yep,
Again, there's a lot of those guys in this movie.
a ton of them. So they got that tip from him, and they didn't get the warrant. There was a lot of like stabs at bureaucracy.
Yeah, red tape. Red
And
tape.
yeah, and also there were a lot of East and West. Like the Russian method is
Better,
better,
yeah. Russian
and
guns are better,
yeah,
all that
when Arnie
stuff.
comes in, and
Yeah.
so
See, there's a lot going on. It kind of moves pretty fast, and at some points you're not lost, but you're kind of like wondering.
well, there a lot of similar stuff.
Yeah, a lot of
like
similar
a lot of
stuff
the
repeats.
same kind of stuff happens. So,
Right.
but that's a good point. Yeah, I just got lost and I started thinking about it. And
Yeah, you just kind of go in circles, which is good, because you don't really need to pay all that much attention. You just know that the good guys are chasing the bad guys, and
So the Russian dude, the main Russian dude, has his crew, his Russian crew that he brought over,
that's right.
and he makes a drug deal in a phone booth, 2 phone booths right next to each other, and they're talking
That's right.
right next to each other, but they had to like call, and it's this like convoluted thing,
He
and
rips the $100.
yeah,
bill,
rips
sticks
a
it out.
$100 bill, and he's like, "Bring this key," blah blah blah,
So there's like
and the
lot of
$100 bill.
There's a lot of Cold War spy stuff that's still kind of happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cute.
So if I were to break this down into a 10-part study session, maybe 5, what are some key things? I mean, I just really want to hit home on what this movie's about. I'm gonna watch it with my hope,
You
but I
know
might
what's
bring this one in.
So what's interesting is like I feel like every side has their point of view, and it's not necessarily wrong. It's just on.
Every
Yeah, the bad guys
the
kind of
clean
switch.
heads.
Yeah, I mean
or-
at first like the Russians kind of the bad guy because he's the asshole. Then the clean heads are the bad guys. But honestly, if you look at each one of their points of view, it's kind of okay. Sometimes Jim Belushi's the asshole because he's just an
Insufferable
idiot.
asshole.
Insufferable.
His
he
character
sucks.
is not Jim I'm sure he's a great guy.
Yes, Jim, you're wonderful. You're wonderful. wonderful. Come to the video store.
What was his name? Is like Radnick or something? It was
Ritzik.
weird. Ritzik.
Ritzik. I can't remember.
Is
his
that
first
like a Chicago name?
It's Art.
Art Ritzik. That's right, Art Ritzik. And actually, the name is, I want to say it's Austrian or something like that. Yeah,
Huh.
Austrian or Hungarian, maybe.
We'll jab at Swartzy.
Maybe. I don't know.
So the I totally forgot his name. Jim Belushi.
Ritzik.
He-
Art.
their bust fucks up the drug deal.
Right.
So the main Russian gets mad. He's all pissed off because he's got this huge drug deal, and he's supposed to be there at 3 with all this stuff, and he's there, and the clean heads don't show up. So he's all pissed off. So he takes off, runs a red light, gets picked up
Right.
by the cops.
That's right. Something dumb.
Something dumb.
Which is exactly what would happen.
And that's how the Russians found out the whole teletype thing. They send Schwarzenegger over to basically just take him back.
Right. Yeah. He's not like searching for anybody. All he's doing is he's got to go over there and he's just got to pick this guy up.
This movie should be 10 minutes if
10
things
minutes long.
didn't go bad.
Right.
And
Yeah. Things go bad.
yeah,
Things go pretty bad.
things go real bad.
So he's going down there, and the Russian government also told him to not say anything about who this guy is when he goes over to pick him up. Don't tell the Americans anything. We don't air our dirty laundry, blah, 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 which is like, I'm watching and I'm like, yeah, like Chernobyl.
Yeah.
You don't want to tell anybody this guy's a mad dog killer and he's going to slaughter half your police force. You might want to bring that up.
Miami got a cool shout out.
That's right.
He's like, 10 years ago, there were no drugs. Within 10 years, this place is going to be Miami.
Funny.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
it's Yugoslavian. That's his last name. South Slavic origin.
Okay.
Yugoslavia.
Interesting.
Yeah, weird.
So I'm loving this so far.
I hope so.
And I think she gonna love it too.
Okay.
I looked up a little bit about the screenplay writer Walter Hill. He also wrote 48 Hours.
That's right, he did. And another 48 Hours probably.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he likes the buddy cop or buddy action genre.
So was 48 Hours the first buddy cop movie?
It seems like it was like 84. And
Okay.
It's pretty much right there. It predates Lethal Weapon by
I was
about
gonna
4 or 5
say-
years.
So he like introduced it, but Lethal Weapon perfected it.
Probably.
Okay. But he kept trying.
I mean, 48 Hours was great.
It was good.
It was a little bit darker, I feel like, than Lethal Weapon. I mean, Lethal Weapon was the first one was pretty dark. They're both actually equally, probably, just in a different way. I felt, I don't know, for 48 Hours, I felt like it was more real.
Yeah. Lethal Weapon was definitely more fantastical.
Yeah.
Like you know you're watching a movie the whole time.
Yeah.
Where 48 Hours, it's like I could see
I can see this happen.
Nick Nolte being an asshole
Oh,
to
yeah.
everybody.
Right.
They did that series of Injustice when they brought in Chris Rock.
Oh, man.
That was bad.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Any notable one-liners in this?
That
know,
is
so-
amazing.
It's funny that you asked that because Walter Hill specifically did not want Arnold to have any one-liners. He wanted to get away from that. He wanted to focus more on his character and not on so much on what Arnold has done up to that point.
I feel like this movie, for Arnold at least, is a step back.
Really?
So throughout the 80s, he's kind of building up steam, and like Commando is like watching Michael Jordan in college. You see the greatness, the future greatness, but he's not quite there yet. But this movie, like, I think Predator is kind of his apex.
Oh, yeah.
Like he felt, or it seemed like he felt comfortable in his own skin, where other movies is very robotic. Even in Commando, it's almost like he's playing Terminator at some points. Like
Right.
he had to go like just walk and open a door, like there was no action, and you can almost see him like
Yeah.
move like a robot. But in Terminator, it's like he felt like a real person. He was doing the one-liners. He's being quippy. He's being a badass. He's showing off his
In what,
muscles.
Terminator 2?
No, in Predator.
Oh, Predator.
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Predator. And then this movie, which came out a year later, which in my head, I thought this came out in '86.
Ah.
And
It
I
seems
think
early.
that's why, because he was much more wooden, and I know he's playing like a hard ass Russian, but still, you know, he just seemed like he's playing that robot again.
Right. I guess we're saying our commentary is, as American filmmakers, is that Russians are robots. Is that what we're saying?
No, it was a step back. Like,
was a
give
step back.
Arnie the one-liners. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, but I really like what the director and writer did,
You should
toning
have.
it down his persona, because I mean it's funny in Predator, it's ridiculous in Commando, but I feel like, yeah, I get where he's going. but-
He should have blown a guy away and been like, "Das Vidanya."
I'm surprised we did not get that.
Yeah.
Like at the end when he blew him away. That
Yeah.
would've been-
A little trick I use when he don't have the Arnold one-liners, I mute the TV and make him on the spot.
I think this is something everyone can play at home.
Yeah.
Just gave you a game,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
That's awesome. I think we might have to do
That
this
is
now.
awesome.
So, yeah, they fuck up this whole prison transfer thing, and the Russian.
Well, the clean heads,
clean heads
like
are-
jump them.
Yeah, so there's a whole plan of attack to get these guys. A whole
And I want to call shenanigans on that.
really.
So
It's too perfect.
the Russians are buying the cocaine.
Right.
So those are two separate groups. And the deal goes bad. Has already gone bad. So those two groups should be awfully leery of each other. But in this movie, the clean heads they're helping the
Yeah,
Russians.
they identify with each other's cause, and because the guy wants to sell all the heroin to the white people over in Russia too.
No, fair enough.
I mean, he does say that later.
He does.
You
Fair
sell it,
enough.
spread it all over Siberia, man.
Yeah. But when I was watching it, I was like, there's no way this
That's what
go down like
I know.
this.
I get that, but that's what I like about it, is because they had a common enemy, which was America. They both
Fair
had
enough.
a common enemy.
Now,
Which was Jim Belushi.
when we talk Arnold, let's talk top performances and see where this one fits in your. I'm gonna rent it anyway. I'm
Okay.
gonna rent it.
Okay. Top performances.
It
Oof.
it would be middle of the road,
Yeah.
at least for 80s Arnold. I'm not very familiar after T2 Arnold in the 90s. I know he made like Eraser and a bunch
That
of
was
crap I
later.
didn't care about.
Yeah.
Kindergarten Cop was a great one.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
This is not bad just because it's different, and he doesn't have the one-liners, and it's just kind of, I don't know. It's I hate to say typecast, but it suits him. I mean, learning Russian, and he already has the accent. I mean, it's kind of working for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's not terrible. I would agree, middle of the road. I mean, True Lies is up there for me. That was great.
Yeah.
Terminator is good
Yeah.
because he plays a good robot.
Yeah.
I thought Twins was pretty hilarious. Thought he was pretty good in that.
He
It's tough.
he did a movie in '86 called Raw Deal,
Raw
I
Deal,
think,
oof.
and so that may be like the low
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about like Hercules in New York, where they like overdub them. Like
Yeah.
that's the zero.
That's what
That's
he just,
bedrock.
He just got to America. Huh?
Yeah.
So this should be, if we had to rate it on a scale of 10, I would do 6 and 7 again. I would do 5 or 6 maybe. It's
And
not bad.
and a lot of it's not his fault because
Right.
like we said, like he's already shown his greatness and
mean,
what
he's-
he does.
he's trying to bounce shit off of Jim Belushi. For
And
God's
and that's the thing is like he had to be the straight man,
Right.
so he was super straight,
super straight.
and Jim was doing his Jerry Lewis.
His mental Jerry Lewis.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Vin Diesel in the remake. Well, who would play the Belushi character?
Oh,
I don't
It-
know.
I can't. Chris Hart.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The little dude
Yeah. That
would be so
hilarious.
fucking annoying with
Yeah.
Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Hollywood, call me.
You know what? Just say fuck it and get Rock and Kevin Hart together again and just do Red Heat all over
Yeah.
again. I mean, they've already done a few and they work well together. and
Okay.
I think they could do it. and that's a size difference for sure.
Yeah. I think Vin Diesel's funnier.
Really?
Like if he got cast, it would
Okay,
be
yeah, I can
funnier.
see that, yeah.
But
The Rock
I
would
think
ham
The
it up a
Rock
little
would.
bit.
The Rock would do better.
Probably.
Yeah. So, call us.
Yeah. We'll do that. We'll make that happen.
Yeah. So they the clean heads jump the cops, and
this
I
is the
think
part
they
you're waiting for.
shoot Arnold.
No, they jumped the cops with batons. Like they
Okay.
were pretending to be security guards.
Yeah.
Downstairs at the hospital, and they're getting this guy out, and then they beat the shit out of everybody with batons.
Mm-hmm.
They really work on Arnold, and then Belushi's partner gets shot, and all hell breaks loose. And Belushi hears it. He's upstairs, and he hears it. Runs down, and he shoots a couple of the bad guys, and
The key. Don't forget the key.
yeah. So in the fracas, in the dust up, the key gets scattered from someplace. Like somebody grabbed the key, and
So Arnold had it because
Arnold
the
had
cops confiscated it
So
when the
the
guy got
Russian-
arrested.
The Russian grabbed it out of his pocket
Yeah.
after he's beating the shit out of
And
Arnold.
Arnold.
Arnold managed to smack it out of his hand, and Arnold got worked over by the other Russian. He definitely got smacked a bit.
Mhm.
So he's on the ground trying not to pass out, trying to get the key. The Russians escape with the clean heads. Partner's dead, and Belushi's pinned down, and that's where the turning point in the movie happens.
And the way he crawled to get that key,
Oh man.
like they lingered on it and
So
they
long.
showed his hand, and I thought for sure like somebody's going to step on
Yeah.
his hand or something because
Yeah.
it was ridiculous how
Yeah.
much time.
Was it in slow motion?
It
It might as well have
should've
been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
I
felt
mean,
like it.
that key got more screen time than a lot of actors
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, there's a lot, and so he's staying at this shitty hotel. Arnold is where the Russian used to stay because he wants to stay where the other guy stayed because it's big macho bullshit. I can take what you can take kind of thing. Put the stone in my hand.
Yeah,
I can take
they
it.
offered him a swanky
Yeah.
hotel, and he's like, "I'll stay here."
Yeah, and the manager of the hotel's Pruitt Taylor Vince, who's in a bunch of stuff.
Is
He's a
he?
character actor? Yeah.
He reminded me of the hotel caretaker from Highlander, like just that sleazy,
Yeah.
like slumlord
Yeah.
hotel manager.
Oh yeah, he did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
I'd never seen him before.
So Arnold's in the hospital. He's still got the key clenched in his hand. The Russians are there now because he really messed up, and he's like, "You're a disgrace to the country." Blah 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 blah. Your superiors want to see you when you get back. How could you let this happen? And all that Russian guilt. And then he still's got the key in his hand, and they leave. He doesn't tell them anything. And then the Americans come in and are like, "All right, well, you're with us now, and we have to chaperone you around, I guess." Or
Yeah, it was weird.
he makes it a point to stay to try to get everything back together. There's
Who-
a lot of
Who was the chief? He was in Johnny.
Peter Boyle.
Peter Boyle.
was the chief. Yeah.
That dude's got a weird head.
He does. And
Talk about
the
Muppets.
funny thing about Peter Boyle, he's like the angry chief, for comic relief. But anytime I can see him just cracking a joke and turning it on to be a
Yeah.
comedian, and I'm gonna laugh my ass off.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Any moment I'm waiting for it.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna turn into Raymond's dad or something.
And I think they kept him around because it's like plausible deniability.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, if he fucks up, he's the Russian dude. That's not us.
Right.
Can't blame us.
And that was a nice little turn in the plot too. He's just like, I'm not leaving without Victor. Blah blah blah. That's the villain's name.
Mhm.
And Peter Boyle's like, okay, look, just don't do anything crazy. And then he leaves, and Belushi's like, what are you doing? He's just like, hey, it's the perfect situation. He's Russian. If he fucks up, it's on them, and
Yep.
it's not on me.
Yep.
And, and that's kind of cool. It's like, all right, now the Russian's gonna cause havoc in Chicago. So you're like, all right, so here we go.
What about a leading lady?
Okay, so we do have a leading lady of sorts. It is played by Gina Gershon,
A young.
young Gina Gershon, who runs an aerobic studio. But it turns out she's also Victor's wife because he had to marry somebody to get a traveling visa. So apparently he married her somehow.
Money.
Money. Yeah, so
It's always about.
it's always about money. So he's got, and this is the thing too that you're looking for in your film is that Victor's apparently does this a lot. He's got a lot of side chicks. He's got a lot of wives. I'm telling you, it's positivity for that right here.
That just gives me a better selling point.
Doesn't it though?
Oh, hello, everybody.
Hey,
How are you?
Mildred.
What's going on today, fellas? Oh, you're missing one today.
Yeah, it's so quiet and peaceful. It's
Oh,
awesome.
It was like that last time, too. I can hear the birds singing from the inside. So wonderful. Well, I won't keep you fellas. You look like you're sweating up a storm in here.
How was going commando?
Oh, it was wonderful. I think it was one of those French films. They like to take their clothes off a lot, those French people. They're just so comfortable with nudity. I'm just not that way.
No?
Yeah, it's weird. But, everyone liked it. Everyone watched the Going Commandos. It was wonderful.
Everyone who?
Oh, my grandsons. They took a
Oh,
break from their
boy.
games and the shoot-em-ups, and they came over to watch. It was weird, but they seemed to appreciate the arts, which is nice.
Your grown grandsons. That's so delightful.
Yeah, they're growing boys. They're growing boys. All right, I'm going to go take a look in the room, and I'll see if I find anything.
Have fun back there.
All right. Oh, that's nice.
She's a regular.
Yeah.
So, fast forward to Russians fucking up Chicago. He's saddled with Belushi now, and Belushi's pissed off because he lost his partner, and they're comparing dick sizes basically with their guns, and it's just
who had the bigger gun?
Oh, is Arnie?
Arnold, of course.
Is-
It's the
of
Russian
course.
had the bigger gun.
We
But-
little. Okay.
But now that he's like off the clock, Arnie is,
Right.
he's wearing a suit now
That's
instead of his uniform.
That's right. So he has this really big, like electric
Turquoise?
blue? Yeah,
Yeah,
turquoise.
it wasn't quite green, but it
No.
was close to green.
And honestly, I'd seen the trailers before where he says he looks like Gumby, and I never got it. Watching it again, I totally get it. He is just very straight and broad-shouldered, and the color of Gumby.
Yeah.
And it really, they work that blue suit into every scene, and it's hilarious. It actually is a joke that actually I think works.
And he calls him Gumby like throughout the rest of the movie
Right.
too. It's
Yeah.
funny. It's like
pretty
a suit Danny Glover would have worn in like Predator 2.
Or he may have. I know he wore the olive suit in Predator 2, which is good looking. Yeah, so they're on the hunt for these guys, and they run into Gina Gershon, and they track her down, and she won't turn on her husband, and they don't know that he's her husband until she tells him. But she tries to help Victor out. They follow her, but it's obviously a setup because they knew that they were going to follow the wife. And then that's when there's another confrontation between the two bad Russians and the clean heads, and everyone's just kind of uneasy.
In a parking garage.
In a parking garage, yeah.
And they all have like M16s and
Yeah.
shotguns. And why did Schwarzenegger and Jim Belushi get out of the car?
Because I think that they knew.
I would have backed
That's true.
right up.
But I think that at that point, I think that at least Schwarzenegger knew that they wanted to have a sit down and talk about
Okay.
things.
I'm a player. I said that from the get-go. Any nice cars in the movie? I heard you mention cars in parking garages. Any notable cars?
You know,
I don't think so.
like Commando had a
Some
sweet
nice-
ass Porsche
Yeah.
and the MG, and this movie had like middle America like sedans.
I think it was, I remember because I like Buick Rivieras, but I like the 1960s Buick Rivieras. I
Okay.
think that they had a Buick Riviera, but it looked like one of those typical 80s FBI cars.
Yeah, all boxy.
Terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's some sweet buses, but we'll
Yeah,
get to that.
We'll get to the buses. The buses are the best part, I think. There's a lot of crazy back and forth with the Russians and the clean heads. Oh, they want to go to the prison, so that's when they go to the prison to interview the main clean head guy, and Arnold tries to intimidate him. And honestly, it's a cool scene because they're in prison and the guard's like, "This is as far as I go. You're on your own." And they talk to this main guy. And I love it because this is a character actor too. I can't remember his name, but he's been in a bunch of stuff, and he plays a great head villain. And Arnold does not intimidate him at all. "You don't scare me, white boy." It's great. He's like, he tries to threaten him like gangster style, like you'll wake up with your testicles in a jar. He's like, "I'm a holy man. I've got no use for my testicles." "Then I'll settle for your eyes." And then he takes off his glasses, and his eyes are completely white. And he's like, "Yeah, you got nothing to threaten me with, It's great. He's like the Joker to the Batman. It's like, you got nothing.
Mhm.
It's pretty cool. I like that whole exchange. that's
And
when
it's weird because the whole time like Arnie's kicking ass and interrogating people and like
breaking fingers.
Yeah, breaking fingers to get his answers, and then he runs into this guy who just stonewalls him.
Yeah, it's great.
He gives him a little bit. I
he-
think just to keep the plot going.
Yeah, just to
but
see him.
maybe he's like, I know I can fuck with you, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
fuck with you a little bit. But yeah, he stonewalls him and just completely nullifies Arnie's force of nature.
Right, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be looking for some entry points to enter, and so is there any point in the movie where it hits a wall, in your opinion?
There's a lot of walls.
Every time Jim Belushi starts his bullshit.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. There was a scene where the Russian guy insults Jim Belushi
Oh yeah.
for no reason.
Yes. Yeah.
And
This
he
is
goes
great.
he goes off, and it's like, why'd he go off? Like,
So there's a lot of movies that do this, and a couple have come to my mind. Like one was North by Northwest does it, and the other one was I'll think about it in a minute. But there's a couple of movies that do this with bad dubbing. I think it was Galaxy Quest was the other one. So this is not bad dubbing, but he gets Victor, and this is when Belushi comes up, and he's just like, you're welcome to ask him where the stuff is. And so Belushi asks him and tries to intimidate the Russian, and the Russian ain't having it. Says something menacing in Russian. And Belushi asks Schwarzenegger, what'd he say? And Schwarzenegger says, he says, you should kiss your mother's behind. And Belushi loses it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would you lose it on
it's
that?
so silly.
It's
It's,
so
like,
dumb.
fuck off.
But
Like,
the whole reason I bring
Yeah.
up the bad dubbing is because as Belushi's cooling out and walking away, they rip him off of him, and they're walking away. Belushi says, "Oh yeah, it's fine. It's every day someone tells me to fuck my mother's ass," and I'm like, "Whoa!" Like that was not.
Yeah.
Why would you censor that? If you're gonna say by the point in this film, there's been a lot of fucks shouted, and there's been a lot of blood, broken fingers, and a lot of crazy shit. So having Arnold say he says that you should make love to your mother's bottom, like that would be better. And then you have a joke that hits twice, but there was no reason to say kiss your mother's behind. And why would you get upset about that? It's so dumb.
It was weird. It felt out of place and
It's so
awkward.
out of place. Like
Yeah.
really weird aggression.
Maybe Arnold didn't want to say it. He's like, I'm not going to say that.
I don't know.
It's like, I'm an action hero. I'm not going to.
Right. I'll say
Yeah.
kiss her behind. I won't say the other.
I want to play kindergarten cop one day. I'm not going to say that.
Right. I have this script on my desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a director thing. It's like, okay, Jim, you might want to take it down a notch. I don't think that would piss you off. I think that they just wanted to see Jim's character get involved, like get pissed off and get
Yeah.
involved, and show that he can be serious too. I think that's basically, and it was just
But-
ham-handed and weird.
Yeah, because that's the part of the movie where he was supposed to get mad, but they just didn't have
Yeah,
the proper script for it.
Right.
So, yeah, it was weird.
It's a lot of weirdo shit. They should have just had him improv more. It would have probably been better than sticking to whatever weirdo script that they had. Yeah.
Should have had a John Ritter cameo. Like, help him get his mojo back
Oh
or
my
something.
God, that would have been great. But John Ritter would have had to come back
In
as
the-
the character
yeah.
from
Oh,
Real
yeah.
Men.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
And maybe stare down Arnold a little bit.
Ah,
Like,
excuse me,
size him up.
You're in my seat.
Yeah. And maybe they have a moment, and then he goes.
Right.
I am a little disappointed because this is post-Rocky 4 that there's no Ivan Drago cameo. Like, just even walking on the street and maybe their eyes catch or something.
So
and
wait,
there's
no Bridget Nielsen?
No,
No.
unfortunately, just Gina Gershon.
Yeah.
You have to be satisfied with that. And she doesn't last too long because, she tries to get away, and Arnold tries to let her get away.
Yeah, and she tries to help the guys because she's in over her head, which she says multiple times.
Yeah, she doesn't want any violence, but she's kind of aiding and abetting violence, but she's also trying to help. But she doesn't make it too far, and that's sad. But
Mhm.
Does she do any drugs?
no, she doesn't. She's just a dancer. She's just a dancer.
They hinted in the news report, the TV report,
Ah,
that
that
she
she-
may have been a prostitute at one
Right,
point. But
yeah.
the Russian guy shoots the TV screen
Yeah.
before they say that.
Right.
But she goes on about how she makes $4.80 teaching kids to dance,
Oh.
and he offered her 10 grand just to get married.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's a little more, capitalism not working, East and West,
Right.
sprinkled throughout.
Yeah, there's a lot of that now, and it just takes on a whole different meaning too, with the whole socialist and capitalist kind of.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's so weird to see. It's kind of cool, but it's just definitely a time capsule for sure of that time.
And the handgun thing, the 44 Magnum, Dirty Harry, the Russian gun's better.
Right.
A lot of that.
A lot of dick measuring.
Yep.
In this, which is kind of sexy. You kind of be nice, right? It's gonna work. So they figure out that there's a big drug bust going down, and they trace them down to where it's gonna happen. And the whole time, the bad Russian is concocting a plan to basically do what we thought he would do all along, which is what you were saying. He's gonna screw everyone out of everything and take everything. So they make the exchange of the money and the drugs, and the guy's counting the money in the bathroom. The Russian comes in.
If we could go back real quick.
Go back, sure.
So the key is the key.
The keys to a bus station locker.
Yeah.
I'll bet you that bus station sidebar is the same bus station in Adventures in Babysitting. But
That was Detroit.
no, Chicago.
The movie Adventures in Babysitting
Yes,
was
sir.
Detroit?
Chicago.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You guys are talking about the original, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. The key.
So the key is the key. My mind is blown right now. My whole life I thought it was Detroit. So they make such a big deal about this fucking key,
So
and
stupid.
Victor has to get this key back for the deal to go through. So that's his main thrust, is getting that key back.
Right.
That's why he had that sit down with Schwarzenegger and didn't kill him, because he wanted the key. He's
Right.
willing to pay for it.
Right. That's right. In the parking garage.
Yeah.
That's what the whole thing was. I'll give you money.
So the good guys call it a night. Schwarzenegger goes back to the hotel, and he hides the key, and Victor's tailing him, spying on him the whole time.
Yeah.
So he sees where Schwarzenegger hid the key. He's got the clean heads as his crew for
Yep.
this mission. And they go in, ask the hotel dude,
Yeah.
where's he staying, what
Right.
room's he in, and he pulls a swerve because he knows what room Schwarzenegger's in, but he says it's a different room. So he sends all the clean heads in
Because he wants to get the key for himself. But
and have Schwarzenegger take care of the clean heads.
right. So it's already started, trying to,
Yeah. Set
turn
him
the
up,
tables and
eliminate
set
him.
set everyone
Yeah.
up, and
He's playing chess
he is playing chess.
because he's Russian.
There's a lot of the chess in the movie too. So
Yeah.
anything Russian is basically in this movie.
I don't see Jim Belushi playing chess at his
No,
desk
no.
in a police station.
In
I just
Chicago,
don't see it.
yeah.
But
So there's a big shootout. He had his gun taken away, Schwarzenegger. So Belushi gave him the 44 Magnum, the Dirty Harry gun.
pretty easily, like he didn't
Pretty
put up a
easily.
fight.
So when the bad Russian gets the key and Arnold's fighting the clean heads, this is another funny thing about the 80s. He's got a 44 Magnum, which is like 6 shots, maybe 5. I think it's 6 though.
No extra bullets.
Oh man, no extra bullets, but man, that thing's like a machine gun. He's
Yeah.
just shooting people. He never reloads, and it's just endless bullets.
Yep.
And he's blowing people away, and they're really showing the power of the Dirty Harry gun. They're enjoying that. So there's definitely some holes in people. But then Victor gets away, and then that's when he shows up later, I think.
Who's that prostitute? Was she in something else?
No, she's not Ray Don Chong.
She looked famous though.
She could have been a
80s
character actor.
famous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was a prostitute in you.
There was a naked
Yeah.
prostitute.
There we go.
Yeah, naked prostitute.
And you see like half a frame of behind when
You see
she
a lot
like
of boobs.
a lot of boobs, but like half a frame of behind. I rewound it just to check, just to make sure. I was like, "Is that behind?" It is. Wow.
One thing my old lady said, I'm a side chick, but she old. She said the PG-13 and rated R has slanted. What the 80s had as rated R, it's now PG-13. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's the other way around.
Okay.
Because I remember a lot of nudity in PG movies,
Yeah.
like topless.
Yeah, I think that it's a lot more soft now. Like, you say fuck once, and that's it. It's
Yeah.
NC-17. If you see a nipple now, it's,
Oh, yeah.
get it. So weird, especially with streaming and everything. It's
Yeah.
like, come on.
That's why modern movies suck.
So he gets the key. He goes to the locker. It's a pretty simple exchange. Like, he gives him the key after all that bullshit. They just open the locker, take the money, gives it to him, and
For some reason, the guy goes into a bathroom to count it, I guess.
because why wouldn't you just get in the car and get the hell out of there? But he goes into the bus station, a bus station bathroom.
And Victor has, were those a Derringer? One
Yeah.
of those, like, trick guns that come out of your
He hides it in
sleeve?
his sleeve, like Taxi Driver. So that's how he killed the cop at the beginning of the film. He's got this secret gun.
And I always thought those were one-shot guns,
Not in this movie.
but he shoots it like 3 or 4
Yeah,
times.
not in this 80s spectacular.
He even has a silencer for
Yeah,
it.
he's got a little tiny silencer. It's actually a minigun, like in Predator. He just clips off like 1,000 rounds.
So, sorry, this whole movie, they're building up this key. We need this key. And the half $100 bill split up. And the exchange is so awkward and weird and convoluted. It's like, why did we spend 40 minutes of this movie
It's a lot
with
of
this
that.
weird, goofy shit? Because he's like, the money's on the baggage cart. So they're out by the bus at this
Yeah.
point.
And he gives him like the claim ticket. Because back in the 80s, apparently they still did that. Like, I don't think anyone ever checked my claim ticket at the airport or bus station or whatever. But yeah, he gets him the claim ticket. He goes out to get the drugs. But he finds the guy in the bathroom and Derringers him to death and takes the money and the drugs.
But he meets the guy and gives him the
Yeah.
half $100 bill, and the guy's like, the stuff is on the cart, which is right next to him, and then he puts his bag on the cart.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's
And-
a whole. It's like you're not supposed to follow it. You're just supposed to be like, okay, this is.
Yeah, root for Arnie blowing the bad guy away
Right.
because it is so convoluted.
Yeah.
I typically count the church money in the bathroom too. But, I mean, how much money we talking? How much, if you could remember?
A
It was-
suitcase full of wadded up. What were they like?
It was
Stacks of
hundreds.
hundreds.
Yeah,
It
it
was-
was a chunk of change.
American money?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's American.
That's 500,000. Close.
At least.
At
At
least.
least.
If it can be in a small duffel in Jackie Brown, then this could be easily $1 million.
Yeah.
So
You mentioned the cut from Russia to Chicago. Were they on a plane? Was there any plane, or just it was a
No.
hard cut?
boom, we're in
Hard
America
cut.
now. And they do the same thing at the end after everything, but we'll get to that in a second. So the good guys show up, and then this was a weird thing too. Like Victor's about to leave with like everything, and then Arnold is right there. Freeze, don't move. And then all of a sudden Belushi comes storming out of another door and points the gun at the same Russian villain. He's like, no, freeze, don't move. You know, you're going to prison for an American crime. And it's like, that's just, wait, what?
He killed a Chicago cop. We
Yeah.
get him first.
It's just so dumb. That's just kind of dumb. And then all of a sudden, Arnold points his gun at Belushi.
Yeah.
It's like, I think
He's
that
like,
they just
I have my orders. It was, I want to say, very lazy writing.
It was manufactured
Yeah.
so they could have a moment to let him get away
Yeah.
and then have to chase him together.
Because an old lady comes out, and like before she even comes out,
He's
Belushi's like, "Whoa, wait, little."
I know. It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
And then he shoots at them, and he gets on a bus, and he's out of there. And then they get on a bus, and we're going to chase him. And then there's this huge bus chase through Chicago,
Which is awesome.
which is kind of great.
Yeah.
And they're running over Chicago landmarks and just running through shit and hitting cars. And it's kind of what you want to see. It's what the trailer was promising. And I think it delivered. I think it could have been more spectacular, but it was still pretty fun.
For 1988.
Yeah.
No special effects. It was real buses on a real road
Right.
with real cars.
And then the writer of Speed was somewhere in America.
He's like, yes,
taking notes.
this is it. This is my meth gator.
This is my moment. I have to remember this. So, yeah, they have this incredible bus chase, and then it ends where Victor gets like cornered.
Yeah, he had to like turn around
do a
because a train like blocked a tunnel.
Yes.
So now the buses are facing each other
Right.
like Footloose.
with tractors,
and-
except buses.
And they got to play chicken.
And they do. And they play Russian-style chicken, which I guess is no one swerves. And
Yeah.
You
No one
murder,
swerves.
you murder each other.
Just head on.
That's it. You'll both die. So they're gunning it with these 2 massive Greyhound buses.
And they start yelling and
That's screaming in Russian really loud. And Belushi realizes that none of these idiots are going to flinch. So he jerks the wheel, and one of the bus crashes, and the other bus gets fucking broadsided by a train, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then they think it's over, and they get out of the bus, and then Victor's still alive, bloody as hell, and he's still pissed off.
He's got a gun.
He's got a gun.
Tons of steam.
We come back full circle to more sweat, more blood, and more steam.
So there was steam again.
Steam. These are all steam trains,
It's gonna work.
all steam buses.
This
And-
is the right movie.
And 2 minutes ago, Belushi wanted that guy because he killed a Chicago cop. Now he's like, just
Yeah.
fucking get him.
Yeah, this is a Russian thing.
Yeah, this is too Russian for
It's
me.
so weird.
So again, it's like lazy writing. Like
Yeah.
he just gave up, and so now it's mano y mano.
And that's how you have to watch it. You have to watch it as like, you know what? There's going to be a lot of loose ends, but who cares? It's all about the steam, the sweat, the Russian and American dick measuring contest, and
Arnold's hams
yeah,
staring at you.
Arnold's big ass. And it's a good time. And obviously, there's a face-off, a showdown. It ends pretty quickly. It's pretty.
It does,
anticlimactic.
yeah.
They don't fuck around, man. There's steam. It's an old-fashioned OK Corral, middle of the street, high noon gunfight, and and Arnold doesn't get hit at all.
Yeah, it could have gone south
Could have gone real bad.
because he let the guy have the first 2 shots,
Yeah.
2 or 3 shots.
And there was no Das Vidanya,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it was terrible.
Yeah. But all's
Revenge.
well that ends well. I guess.
Revenge is best served like borscht. Like, geez, come on.
Revenge is a dish best served like my home country, cold.
There it is.
So yeah, they make up and they exchange watches because it's a guy thing to do apparently. And I like the fact that Belushi gave him like a
$1,000.
$1,000 Rolex that because he knows a guy, and then Schwarzenegger gives him some shitty East German.
$20 East German watch.
It's hilarious.
I feel like that was the audience getting Jim Belushi back for the
Yeah,
whole movie.
for being a douche.
He got his comeuppance.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's all good, Jim.
So there's another hard cut back to Russia because they say their goodbyes, and Ivan Drago walks to the plane and he does the German salute to Jim Belushi, and then they cut that with him doing the the Russian salute in Red Square, and he's in his full Soviet police uniform again, and he's actually in Red Square.
Yeah.
And then he awkwardly kind of walks out of frame, and the camera stays on Red Square. Funny note about this, they asked the Soviet government for permission to shoot there. They were denied, so they kind of did it guerrilla style, and they acted like they put Arnie in full costume, and they acted like they were doing like home movies.
Oh, wow.
And so they shot some of Red Square like without permission.
Wow.
And that's what the end shot was for sure. They just let it roll, so let the credits roll over it. But
That could have been an international
oh,
incident.
It could have been bad.
Yeah.
And I wondered like how because they showed Red Square before, but it kind of looked like a matte painting, but couldn't be sure.
Like, what would we have to give up for Arnie? Like,
To
we
get him
gave
back.
up the Merchant of Death for a basketball player.
Not even a good one.
It's
Well-
like, we have Arnie.
Would they have to negotiate with the American government or the Austrian government? Because is he a citizen, or was he a citizen in 1988? Because they're like neighbors.
He was still a national treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We probably would have given up a lot.
I mean, we would have given up more for Stallone, but
Wow. Wow.
I mean, we would still give up a lot for Arnie.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you feel like this movie's gonna work for you?
I think she gonna like it. It's gonna take her down memory lane. It's gonna get me some brownie points. I heard a lot about steam, and we move a lot of coke through the church. So
Nice.
any tips to make me a better man?
Hey.
And I see the way to go is through white people. I got it covered.
And prosthetic legs.
That's the way.
Perfect, man, and awesome. I hope you have a good time with this movie, and I hope it helps you get more side chicks.
Yes. Do I need to rewind?
You know?
Please.
Yeah,
Be kind.
that would be helpful.
Shit.
I know it's tough. It is tough. Well, thanks for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
Got it. All right, another satisfied customer. Very nice.
I think we could have done better selling that. We were kind of hard on it,
We were.
and it was still a fun movie. It's still a 6 or 7.
We were-
Arnie grading. So
We were as hard on it as the Russian winter is hard on its people.
yeah, I mean, you don't want to lead them down the Brimrose path. You got to be real with them.
I feel like if we undersell it, then it's just going to be better
exactly
in the end.
those hot Russian chicks at the beginning. Wow.
Yeah, that was good.
Awesome.
They did not. That's where all the rated R money went.
Yep.
It's right into Arnold's ass and,
Oh, yeah.
and boobs.
Hey, I just fell asleep in the back. I'm gonna go get another mule. Hey, I'll see you guys later on.
Catch you later, Mayor.
See you, Mayor. Thanks for coming by. Oh, where's Mildred? She back there?
Hey guys, how are you? I found my movie for tonight.
Can
It's-
I guess?
Oh please! This will be wonderful. Yeah, I've got 2 movies in my hand. I'm holding behind my back.
Okay, I think one of them is Red Meat Heat.
Oh my God! You should be working a circus. That's amazing.
And the other is hanging out with Arnie Schlonganator.
I didn't see the second one, but I did pick up The Adventures of Jed Meat.
Okay.
I don't know. I like adventure movies. Maybe it's like the Indiana Jones fella.
Yeah.
He's got like a whip or something.
Or something.
All right, doll. I'm gonna take off. You guys be good.
It's good seeing you, Mildred.
You too. You too, Mildred. Be good. It's bound to be one of those days.
It's one of those days.
One of those days. All right, let's get the hell out of here.
Sounds good to me. See you guys.